All right. Awesome. So we are live and recording. Thanks, you guys, for joining me. And I know most of you were on last week for the Energize and Align Challenge and had some wonderful breakthroughs. So super excited to share with you again tonight, just sort of wrapping it up and really giving you some inspired, intentional steps to integrate this into your life. So as usual, I love to start with presencing. So as long as you're not driving, then I'm going to invite you to really just get present um, and just kind of come into your own space, because that's kind of where the truth and the clarity comes up. We get out of our busy mind and everything that happened over the weekend. We're going into the work week this week. So I'm just going to ask you guys to be super present with me for the next 30 minutes or longer if you decide to stay. So I'm going to invite you guys to close your eyes. And if this is new for you, just allow yourself to just listen and just take a few moments of rest. You can turn the video off if you feel a little awkward. I'm going to have my eyes closed too. I do this all the time. So if you're new to this, just make yourself comfortable. So I'm just going to invite you to just start connecting with your breath. So take your hands, if it would feel good, place them just underneath your belly button. One hand underneath the belly button, one hand on the heart. And allow yourself to really reach down to the bottom of the belly to start the inhale. Most of the time we're breathing shallow from the chest. So this is an invitation to really allow yourself to receive that inhale. So taking a deep breath in, follow the breath all the way up to the top of your chest, maybe up a little bit further. Just kind of imagine that air coming in, and then exhale, release slowly. Open the mouth and release. And just noticing your heartbeat underneath your hand. 3 more breaths just like that. You might hear my dog in the background. She's being talkative. So just taking another breath. And just begin noticing sensations in the room that you're in. So almost everybody's at home right now. So just noticing the temperature of the air, the change of season. We have a full moon tonight. And just noticing any sounds. Notice your connection to the seat beneath you, however you're seated, on the floor, in a seat. And then start to bring your awareness, just shifting your focus or your energy a little bit to your internal environment. Just noticing the quality of your thoughts. Just allowing them, just kind of notice what thoughts come up for you. And if it's a lot, that's okay. We're not trying to change anything. We're just becoming present. And continue that deep breath from your belly. Maybe welcome a little movement to your head and your neck if that feels good. Keeping the eyes closed and just really noticing that internal environment. So we're going to begin just a really gentle full body scan. So just noticing the quality of the thoughts. And when I say that, it's just like, just notice, observe what you're thinking. And then bring your awareness down to your jaw and allow the jaw to relax. Allow the jaw to hang slightly open. And then notice the head and the neck. So this is the area where we speak our truth. And then bring your awareness to your heart. Maybe you place a hand on your heart. Maybe you just notice the quality of your heartbeat. Maybe you go a little deeper and just kind of notice if there's any feelings or emotions that are present for you. So just kind of checking in, like how do I actually feel? Like slowing down to actually take the time to notice how you feel in this moment can be so profound for our health and well-being. Just slowing down enough to just ask yourself, ask your name. Michelle, Nora, Jen, how do I feel? How do you feel? And then bringing it down a little bit further into your solar plexus area. This is the area of all our vital organs. So just kind of the belly and just below the rib cage. Just noticing if there's any areas of tightness or resistance as you continue down the body.
Okay, I found this on.
That would be Siri. And then bringing it down just below your belly button and your hips. Hips are a place where we can hold a lot of our emotions. So just kind of notice the lower back and the hips. So as I say belly, the lower back is on the other side. As I say heart, the shoulders on the other side. Notice if there's any areas where you hold tension. The jaw, the shoulders, and the hips are usually the places where we hold our emotions, and sometimes the knees. Just kind of checking in. Maybe it feels good to take your hands and squeeze your legs or make a little movement in your body. But when was the last time that you really checked in with your body, your heart, your mind? Like, what's happening for you in this moment? And then just continue to follow your breath all the way down to the soles of your feet, really checking in with each part of your body. And then bring the awareness back to the breath. And just imagine for a few breaths, inhaling through the soles of your feet. So circular full body breathing, as if you were kind of watching the air come up through the soles of your feet, up to your crown, and then back down into the earth. Full body breath, one more time. And then just gently starting to bring movement to the fingers, the toes, the head, and the neck. Start to bring your awareness back into the room. And before opening your eyes, just take a moment to just ask yourself, how do you feel in this moment? In 2 words. And I'm going to invite you to share in the chat box what comes up for you in 2 words, just how you feel in this moment. So everybody's welcome to join in. Let me know how you're doing in this moment in 2 words. Nora says busy mind, intense jaw. Michelle says surprisingly good. Okay, Michelle, you get 1 more word. Surprisingly good. I'm glad you feel good. Anybody else want to put some 2 words down? I think Jen's on the phone, so she might not be able to listen. So audio keeps cutting out for me. Is it cutting out for you, Nora? No? Okay. Michelle, you could be on Wi-Fi. If you're on Wi-Fi, okay, so that's why. Yeah, okay, awesome. So if you're on Wi-Fi, then it could cut in and out for you. Okay, so awesome. And it's really important to just take a few moments to slow down and just kind of check in with how you feel. So the next thing I'm going to invite you to do is I'm going to invite you to allow an intention for tonight, just the next 20 minutes. So an intention is really a guiding principle for how you want to be, live, or show up in this space. So with the words that you shared, what would be an intention that you could allow yourself to receive, or what is a way that you could sort of an intention that you could set for yourself just for our time together tonight? It might just be not to multitask, or not to, start thinking about the week that's coming up, just any type of intention. I invite you to share it because it's really powerful to share it and sort of claim it. And this is a safe space without judgment or expectation. So whatever is coming through for you, Nora says, this moment is for me to explore and learn what benefits my spirit. I love that. So sounds like Nora is just open to receiving any information that's good for her spirit, her well-being. So just an intention for tonight. We're so used to setting goals. And here's the thing about goals. So I love goal setting sometimes. Most of you are familiar with SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, or relevant, and timely. And the thing about goals that I notice is that when we set a goal, we put an expectation on ourselves. And sometimes we forget that attainable one. When we're overachievers, we set a goal that in the end, if we don't meet the goal, then sometimes we don't feel good about ourselves. So that's why I really love to encourage intention, which is more of a way of showing up in a specific space. And we're going to do it again at the end of this call, something for you to take with you. So intentions can look like it's a way of being. So opening your heart or practicing compassion, letting go of fear, something like that is a really good intention. So Michelle says, receive whatever healing energy comes from this. Awesome. Okay. So I am just going to, Nora, I know that you weren't able to join in because our calls were at lunch during the week. I don't know if you're able to look at the ebook, but I'm just going to sort of recap what we did last week. I know, Michelle, you were there for some of it. So last week was a week challenge called Energize and Align. And the reason I'm talking about it in terms of energy is because food is energy, our emotions have energy. We have energy blocks in our body that come from emotions. They can come from food. When there is a physical ailment in the body that's uncomfortable because either we're not eating properly or we're not moving properly or we have an injury. So some of the things we talked about last week were on day one, creating our sacred energy flow. So really understanding how do we show up in our life in a way that feels good for us? Because we're living in a time where the world is speeding up. There are so many things to distract us: the phone, the internet, the TV, the everything. Like when we were kids, we didn't have these things, right? So everything is speeding up. Nobody's slowing down. All of a sudden, we have higher expectations on ourselves. And if we're parents, we might even be projecting those expectations on our kids, signing them up for multiple activities. Just it's insane, really. Like we're overdoing everything. And one of my favorite books, you guys, right now is Do Less by Kate Northrup. Yeah, Nora's got it. And you know, it really is just coming back to eventually we're going to have to simplify. I'll drop the link. I'll share that with you, Michelle, that book. Kate Northrup's actually going to be on my podcast because I met her in person around her concept of Do Less, because what's happening is we are in a generation of specifically women, mostly, who if we were born in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, we were growing up in a time where we were still trying to prove ourselves with the work that we were doing. And we started to learn to value ourselves for what we did, not who we are. So we really want to come back to remembering who we are is enough and remember who that is. Because if you're looking for healing energy tonight, Michelle, this is what I want you to take away. You too, Nora. The only thing that you have to do in this world, because you don't have to do anything, is just be you. Nobody else can do that. And so your sacred energy flow is about reconnecting with why you're here, who it is that you're meant to be, not necessarily what you're meant to do, because when you know who you are, then you're going to be able to transmute that energy in some way. For example, you may learn about yourself that you are somebody who is very nurturing and healing. And even though You might not do that as a job. You might be that person in your family, or you might be that person at work. So really understanding what your gifts are, your values are, and then choosing to live in a way that feels good for you, not the outside world expectations, not the expectations that we thought our parents put on us, not the expectations that somebody in our life put on us at some point in time that made us feel unworthy, not good enough, not lovable, not capable, hopeless, not safe. These are the beliefs that we've created. So day one was creating your sacred energy flow, and it was really about understanding what is important to you. So for those of you that are on right now, if you can think of 3 to 5 words that you came up with on Monday around your values and what's important to you, I'd love to hear from you. Mine include health, which I say is nourishment, community, authenticity, joy. So I'm just going to invite you to, and transformation. I love to constantly learn and grow. Those are my 5 core values. So if you have any, even one, I'd invite you to share. Day 2 is clearing energy blocks. So energy blocks is really getting into the emotional part where a lot of us learned some of the belief patterns that show up in our life, and how they show up in one way, they show up actually in every way. And so as I was health coaching for 10 years, what I noticed is that it wasn't about the food. What it came down to is, thanks, Michelle. I love those. Health, love, giving and sharing, healing and growing. I love that. So it was never about the food, but it was more about our relationship with what we believed about ourselves in the experience of learning how to be healthy. Some women would be afraid to even try a program because they would be afraid to fail. So they already in their mind weren't good enough, so they were afraid to try something new. And some women would have all the resources they needed. They would have the time, the money, the support, but then there was an underlying belief underneath that something was more important than their own nourishment and self-care, that they had to give more to somewhere else than themselves. There were belief patterns that were showing up. So that's when I started incorporating life coaching. So we talked about that on Tuesday, clearing energy blocks. And the one that came up the most was around worthiness, not being good enough, or I'm only good when I perform well. I'm only good when my house is clean. I'm only good when I'm healthy. These were the things that I heard. And so that was coming up for us a lot. And what we start to notice, what we can do, so this is going to be a takeaway from you tonight that I didn't say last week. Here's the truth. This is a practice. So those of us that like to put expectations on ourselves, we're like, oh, I figured out my limiting belief. Now I'm healed. Now I can everything's going to change. That's not the way it works. So everything is a practice. So once we learn and we've identified that, oh, that's right. I remember now that I was in this relationship where it felt good at the time, where I developed this belief that I was only lovable if I showed up in this way, but that's not true anymore. I'm going to choose to believe differently. And what we do is we just practice self-compassion around the belief. It's a practice. We keep practicing. What happens energetically is we diffuse the energy in the belief. So the belief, it doesn't even seem true anymore because you get so tired of hearing yourself say it, because you recognize it. You start to recognize, some people even give themselves a name for that person, like the scared person or the unlovable person. If you want to do that, you can do that, but you can just say, oh, I'm recognizing that I'm not good enough again. I'm overachieving and I'm exhausted. This is my limiting belief, by the way, not good enough. So I'm recognizing that I'm overachieving and I'm exhausted because I don't feel good enough. Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath. I'm gonna reset, and I'm gonna trust that I'm exactly where I need to be, and that other people's perception of me is not entirely about me. That I am where I need to be, and that I am doing the best I can. We can choose something like that. So it's almost like having a conversation with yourself and witnessing yourself and observing that pattern, and then just being okay with it. So those of you that participated last week, if you remember the energy block or the self-limiting belief that showed up for you. I invite you to share if you want, or any breakthroughs you had around that. Day 3 was all about the balance of giving and receiving. So it was an intuitive energy balance. And we talked about areas that we give too much, areas that we don't allow ourselves to receive. And quite a few ladies were surprised that it wasn't, they knew they were giving too much, but they didn't really realize that they weren't allowing themselves to receive. They didn't think about the fact that they weren't allowing themselves to receive compliments. So how many of you can say that when somebody gives you a compliment, you say, thank you, I'm receiving that. Like, yeah, I am awesome. Yeah, I do look good today, right? Sometimes we're just like, oh, thanks. And we kind of dismiss it, right? I'm getting super better about receiving, Nora. Awesome. I love it, because you've got a lot to give, sister. You have a lot to give, and you are worthy of receiving all of the compliments because you're amazing. So just realizing that we can allow ourselves to receive more. And then we also talked a little bit about giving and receiving in terms of nourishment and food. So for example, there's a process that there's kind of a balance in the body where we want to cleanse and detox the things that don't make us feel good. So processed sugar is number one universally for everybody. Though that's the one thing that I will only say that everybody will benefit from reducing. Now, depending on your bio-individuality, your genetic predisposition, it's called the study of epigenetics. It's super cool. Like, food affects your gene expression. Depending on your environment, depending on your lifestyle, depending on the overall state of your immune system, everybody's going to look different. Some people want to be vegan, some people want to be paleo. There is no right or wrong way. There is no one way that works for everybody. And I will stand 100% behind that. And whatever works for you now might not work for you if you're a year from now. You're pregnant, you're having a baby, you're going through menopause, you just had a divorce, like there's an emotional thing happening. So intuitive eating and intuitive body wisdom is about checking in with your body and learning, giving yourself that gift of checking in and learning about what works for you. But we have to take the time to slow down to do that. So we talked about that in terms of food. So not only understanding what foods are making you tired. I mean, I have people all the time that tell me, I mean, even if they've been following me for years. I just had a friend the other day. She's like, I think I believe you now. I just realized that whenever I eat pasta, I get migraines. And, she's been thinking about this for 3 years, and she finally is just like, now I know it's true. And that is definitely a thing that can happen. Food can affect us. Seasonal allergies. Sometimes people think they have seasonal allergies, but it's really the food that they're eating. When the body's fighting an internal battle, then if there's stuff going on in the body and it's weakening the immune system, it's more sensitive to the environment. So you might be more sensitive to chemicals and seasonal allergies, and skin, even babies' cradle cap, eczema, acne, all food related, because it all comes from the liver. The liver regulates your immune system, which allergies are really just a disorganized immune system. It's really, in Chinese medicine, what they talk about a lot is keeping the qi of the patient stronger than the qi of the pathogen. So energy. So your energy, keeping your energy in alignment, emotionally well, physically well, spiritually well, any of the things that make you feel good, when you live in that space, then you're going to be healthy, and you're going to know when you have been exposed to a virus. And if you do get exposed to a virus, you can be the carrier and not the host. It's so empowering. I completely changed my life. I mean, I had liver failure at 28. I lost my immune function totally. I was sick for years and years and years, and I rarely ever get sick now. I can't even remember the last time. And this was all me committing to eating healthy, eliminating the foods that don't make me feel good, and really just not eating that much sugar anymore. So just in working in what works for me, and learning how to meditate and slow down, because stress is not good for our health either. So that was day 3. Day 4, moving into that, was energy management. So going beyond time management. So energy management starts with the intention that we started this call with. So the intention, and getting super clear about everything you do in your life. When you wake up in the morning, maybe taking at least 1 minute to think about the day before you. Think about the flow of your day. Who are you going to be with? How are you going to eat? What are you going to feel like? What is your intention for the day? How are you going to celebrate? What are you grateful for? How are you going to nourish yourself, even if it's just drinking water? But just taking that time to just kind of create the container for the day. 1 minute, 30 seconds, maybe the drive to work, if you can do that and drive to work, because you're probably thinking about work. So if you're thinking about work, just take a minute to think about it in a new way, with an intention, a way of being. So I'm going to invite you right now just to think about, what is something, an intention that you could have for yourself to practice, because everything's a practice, because there's no expectations, there's no failure here, there's no pass or fail. This is just, we're just in life, like we're just setting an intention. There's no like, you're not going to get in trouble, it's not that you're not going to be good enough. This is just an intention. So receiving support, receiving compassion, or not taking on bad energy. Maybe that's an intention at work. My container had 35 meetings in a week as a default. I could not think past that. Now I'm deleting messages. Not perfect, but you have a few minutes to think for you. Yeah, you've come so far too, Nora. You really have. You're doing awesome. So some of us on here may be experiencing that, like the balance of, school and life, work and life, kids and life. So I want to invite you to consider how you show up in this space. What are the beliefs you have in those moments when you feel overwhelmed? Because the outside world is going to keep happening. There's always going to be meetings. There's always going to be, something, work, school, kids, messy house. That's always going to be there. But you get to choose how you show up in that space. There's going to be people that are going to be mean. They're going to blame you. There's going to be people that have bad days. That doesn't have anything to do with you. But you get to choose how you show up and what you believe. You don't have to take the negative energy on. You don't have to fix anything. But you get to ask yourself, check in with yourself and just say, like, what is this, how do I feel in this moment? Just kind of check in. Because a lot of times somebody can be grouchy to us or something, and then we feel it in our body and it doesn't feel good. And then we don't realize that we were feeling great, and then there was a grumpy person, and all of a sudden we feel weird because somebody gave us a dirty look and it wasn't about us. Or maybe we ate a bag of potato chips, and now, which is a lower energy food, it just is, and that's okay. But how do you get rid of the energy? Great question. Well, there's something different for everybody. So that's part of energy management. It's going to be different for everybody. So think about when and where you feel good. Think about where you feel good in your body. What kinds of things are relaxing and give you energy? For me, it's water. I take a shower if I have to. I go to the beach. I go outside. A lot of people find animals in nature to be super healing. So the first thing we do is, in order to manage that, Michelle, is we want to create a healthy boundary. So the healthy boundary starts with just being aware of it. So when you show up in a workplace and there's some toxic energy, there's toxic people, because it's everywhere. It's in the world. If you're watching, the news, sometimes you can be taking on negative energy. Yeah. Tourmaline in your pocket and use lavender in your office. And so sensory things can feel really good. Essential oils are wonderful. And actually essential oils have an energetic frequency to them as well. As we're talking about energy, where they actually do cleanse the space. that's why it makes us feel good when we, a lot of the tree smells are very grounding. A lot of the citrus smells are very uplifting. So if you're kind of a tired person, the citrus and flowery smells can be uplifting, like spring. You just think about the seasons, and then the trees can be more grounding, and then the roots like basil, rosemary, fir, cedar. Those are all going to kind of they're a little bit lower energy, so they help ground you a little bit. Lower does not mean bad, by the way. So just so it's just if you're an anxious person and you want to kind of settle down a little bit, then you would want some grounding smell. So essential oils are great. Does that help, Michelle? Do you have another question around? Okay. So finding kind of a routine that works for you. So first, the awareness about it. Second, just, the awareness about it is going to help you realize that it's not yours. It's not your energy. Sometimes it's somebody else's. And then there are multiple things you can do. If you're a visual person, you can imagine just like throwing it back out to the world, throwing it back out outside. If you can take a deep breath and breathe into your body and find a place that feels good in your body. So just ask yourself, okay, where's a place that feels good? It's actually a tool. It's called a holistic inquiry, where you actually just keep asking yourself, where is it? And then you can, one of the tools that I use is called somatic inquiry process. It's so, okay, so where's a place that feels good in your body? What does it feel like? Some people see colors. Some people have like, it feels warm, it feels cold, it feels red, it feels sharp, but actually getting super present with something that feels good in your body. So that's energy management. How do you guys feel about that? We're just kind of opening up the space to new ideas. And then on day 5, we talked about the energy flow again. So we kind of did the bookend, right? Creating sacred energy flow, realizing what's important to us. And then day 5 was kind of looking at the bigger picture of like, this is life. We get to create our own life story. So how are you going to choose to rewrite your story from this moment on? And this is how we're going to wrap this up. And then for those that are interested in a live question and answer and interested in the 6-week group coaching program that I have coming up, you guys can stay on. But before we leave, what we're going to wrap this up with, on day 5, we talked about the big picture on what's important. What are you going to be laying on your deathbed at whatever age? Like, what are you going to say about your life? How are you going to feel? Think about the things are you going to be thinking about the things you wanted to do, the things you missed out on? Are you being present in your relationships? Are you allowing yourself to receive connection in your marriage, with your children, with a partner, with your friends, with your community? Are you showing up in a way where you're honoring yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? Do you have energy to do the things you want to do in life? What are the things you want to do in life? Who's going to be living in your life to support you? How are you going to feel? I have a dream life meditation that I shared in the Facebook group. If you didn't grab it, I'd invite you to do it. It came out in the email too. It's a meditation. It's 20 minutes. It is a long one, but it takes you to imagining your dream life. And so, but in a place where you can feel it, sense it, live it, and getting really clear more on the way that you feel. Not the things like, oh, $1 million house on the beach or something. Not really that. It's more like looking around you. How do you feel? Who are the people in your life? So that was really what we did on Friday. So now the invitation to wrap this up is to come up with an intention for yourself that you are willing to do. You're going to call it out in the comments. An intention for yourself in a new way. So it's kind of like we're in a place where we can course correct. So we've been living in a certain way. We talk about energy alignment. Alignment is down the center, right? So alignment would be our highest intention. Alignment is where we feel good, we're healthy, we're energized, we're open to giving and receiving love, nourishment, support. Whenever something uncomfortable comes up, or I mean, honestly, when we have an illness or an injury or a breakdown somewhere in our life, it just means we're out of alignment. We're not listening. We're not listening to our body when we get sick, when we get hurt. We have a breakdown in our finances, a breakdown in our marriage, a breakdown in a friendship. That just means something was out of alignment. So how can we come closer to living in alignment? So I'm going to invite you to share an intention. So just a reminder, an intention is a guiding principle. So we're here, we want to get closer to this alignment, right? We're going to course correct to come closer to alignment, closer to living in a new way of being. So examples are receiving support would be an intention. It's not a goal, it's a new way of being. Practicing compassion for my overachievers. For my perfectionists, I see some smiles. Practicing non-judgment. Non-judgment's a great one. Because usually if we're hard on ourselves, we're hard on other people. So if you notice that and everybody does it, but if you notice that you're a little bit judgmental sometimes, maybe not outwardly, but inwardly, check with yourself. How hard am I on myself? Letting go of fear would be another example. So it's just a new way of, or maybe just being more present. Michelle says, be more present and pay better attention to balance. So Michelle, what would balance look like for you? There are many areas that we could talk about balance. So it looks like Jen and Rhonda and Dennis, maybe you guys aren't on video, but you're welcome to chime in. I got Michelle and Nora super active. Being more present and paying attention to balance. So Michelle, I'm going to invite you to go a little bit deeper. So what does it look like when there's an imbalance in your life? How are you going to know? How do you usually know that you're out of balance? Nora, do you have an intention? Michelle says, my body will tell you. So how does your body tell you? I'm going to help you get super clear. I literally feel it. Where do you feel it? Do you want to, okay, so now we're going to transition to the live. Do you want to just take yourself off mute and we can work through this? Tight neck, shoulders, and lumbar. Okay.
Yep.
What does it
That's
feel
where
like?
I feel it. Stiff.
So I think you're muted. If you look down.
I unmuted.
Yeah, I can hear her.
If you look down on the bottom.
You can hear me, Nora?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now, Jen?
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go.
I get very stiff and I can usually feel it in my body.
Okay, so what's
Tight.
an example of when this shows up?
When I'm overly stressed or I have too much going on and like too much going on at one time.
And so where does this typically show up in your life? Is it work or?
School and like mom-wife balance between you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my health and not eating right. And
You're not the only one.
Yeah. So,
That's what I'm saying. You're not the only one, as in we cannot get out of it, but you're not the only one as in don't feel lonely. Yeah. There's similar journeys. Yeah.
yeah.
so, and I appreciate you sharing that, Nora. This is the shoulders show up a lot and the lower back. And I think we talked about this.
Yes.
Feeling that weight of the world on your shoulders. And it's almost like the lower back, like so you're carrying this heavy, energetically, metaphorically, right?
That's exactly what it feels like.
Mhm.
Okay, so what is, when you're in that moment, I want to encourage you to understand the belief that shows up that is transmuting to physical discomfort in your body. So in my words, it's like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, but in that moment, what are you experiencing? Like there's a moment where either we tighten up or we tense up and we feel overwhelmed. What is the feeling that comes before the tension in the body? So feeling would be like
Frustration.
frustration. Okay. Is there anything else?
Um, it's usually just like it's usually just frustration.
And so where does the frustration usually show up from? Like where is it coming from?
Not enough balance.
And so what does the imbalance look like?
What do you mean? Like,
So how does it look in your life? Is it too much school, too much family, too much responsibilities as a mom and a wife?
it's I think it's both. You know what I mean? When I can keep them both in balance along with eating right and doing what I'm supposed to do. If I don't eat right and exercise and don't do what I'm supposed to do, it's almost like it knocks everything else out of balance. So it could be the same amount of school and other responsibilities, and I'm not eating right and doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, to feel and be healthy. If I am doing that, I'm good, even though this is the same. This never changes. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not very good at articulating.
I totally understand. It makes perfect sense. So what I want to help you figure out from this point moving forward is what is something that you could do? What is an intention that you could have to when you recognize that you're feeling out of balance?
I can, what, to come out of it, or to try to
Just
try to put.
there's no wrong answer. But what is, so just put yourself in that moment for a second. When you're feeling school, family duties, and all of a sudden, like you feel frustrated because either what's the belief that comes up? There's not enough time. I don't have enough help. What sort of comes up?
I just got to get this stuff done.
So
Just the belief.
what would make it easier? Because you don't have to do anything. We talked about this.
Right. No, right.
So you're choosing to be in school, which is
Right.
awesome and challenging. I mean, and it's going to be worth it.
Right. That's just kind of what I keep in my head. And when I'm frustrated and feeling like that, I try to take a step back and basically check in with myself and take a deep breath. And and by the time I'm done doing that, I can, not that it's wonderful again, but it kind of brings me back to reality. Just like taking a second, being present and being grateful for everything that is good at this moment.
That's
Kind of.
awesome. So you're already practicing that.
Yes.
That's awesome. So now you know that you can pull yourself back into the present moment. So what is an intention moving forward that you could do to create more balance in your life?
Eat better and exercise more regularly.
What would that look like for you? And by the way, there's no pass or fail, there's no right answer, but just being super like honest with yourself. Like it could just be drinking a glass of water every day. It could be as simple as that. But what is just one thing that you could do? This is just a promise to yourself. What is something that you could do? Because if we can put the intention is energy. So as we take that moment to bring that intention into our life, we can start to create change. I mean, we're doing this consciously and subconsciously. There are many layers to this. So what is one thing, one intention that you could have for yourself to create more balance in your life?
Probably, I still go back to eating right and exercising.
So that's a really big intention.
I know, but like in the past, I had like a period of remission for like months. And when
Yeah.
I look back at it now, it was basically eating healthy and I was moving and exercising every day. And when that stopped, slowly over a period of time, everything else came back. So for me, it's just, I
Yeah.
have to I have to do those things and I know they work. I
Yes.
just have to do it.
I agree. It's the foundation for everything. I 100% agree. So where could you start? Is it breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, water? Like what is one small thing that you could do that you're willing to do?
I already did the water thing. I already did that. So,
I mean, it could be cleaning out your fridge. It could just be cleaning out the pan. It could just be the intention just could be, you know, when you go to the store next time, don't buy the guilty
right.
pleasure. It could just be that one, maybe you buy 5 guilty pleasures and now you're only down to 4. It could
It
just,
would probably be for me like getting like healthier things at the store, like you said, like getting lettuce and tomato or whatever stuff for a salad. So I'd be more likely to eat it if it's in the fridge.
perfect. So that would be an intention. Your intention would be to, when you go shopping, what would it be?
When I go shopping, to buy healthier foods, make
Awesome.
healthier choices.
Yay. Perfect. I mean, it's that we get really caught up in having this really big thing, right? Like I'm going to eat healthy and exercise all the time, but let's just start with one thing. Let's just start with this one small intention, because what happens is sometimes we get again overwhelmed. We're already out of balance, and then we created a goal
Even more.
overwhelming, and then yeah. So if we can start something small. So is that something that you're willing to do?
Yes.
And then how will you celebrate? Because you did it, you're like, yeah, my intention. I mean, it could just be a little like, you know, thumbs up, whatever. But how will you celebrate? Are you going to tell somebody? You can tell me if you want. You can send me a message.
Yeah, I could do that. That will work.
Okay.
Kudos.
Okay. So next time you go grocery shopping, you're going to have the intention to buy healthier food. And then just to keep some self-responsibility and accountability, you're going to let me know. And if I don't
Sounds
hear
good.
in 2 weeks, I'm probably going to because I'm going to be like, did you go grocery shopping? Okay. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Awesome. So from this point on, what I'm going to do is screen share with you guys and share with you what I am doing over the next 6 weeks. So I'm going to be doing a 6-week group coaching program where it's going to be diving deeper into the things that we talked about last week. So I'm going to actually share with you, it's called the Empowered Energy and Wellness Program. And I'm going to screen share. Those of you that were a part of the challenge, I have a special link for you to save $200 to join. It goes live for everybody else tomorrow. So, and I'll share that with you too. Let me just see if I can remember how to do this screen share thing. So you should be able to actually see my screen. Can you see my screen yet? No.
Mm-mm.
No,
Okay, thanks, Nora. I know you know how to do this. Hold on.
well, I don't know. You're teaching me this mode. I've never used this. I use WebEx.
I've done
That's
it.
what
I
my
used
husband
WebEx
uses.
too. Actually, the guy I bought my house from, he was
Uh-huh.
one of the guys for WebEx, and then he went to Ubo, and then Zoom. Okay, so you can't see it now. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Can you see it now?
Slowly showing up like the top. Okay.
Now we can.
Got it.
Okay, so when you go to my website, jenmons.com, there's a join the 6-week Empowered Energy and Wellbeing Immersion course. So if for those of you that are new to me, I haven't done a group course in probably 2 years. The reason I'm offering this is because actually right now my private coaching is full. So I'm not able to take on a new person until really the end of November. And so, and then the other part of it is that sometimes private coaching just doesn't work for people. So anyway, I decided, because there were some people that were interested, to offer a group program to move through some things together. What it's going to look like is six weekly group coaching calls. And I'm going to limit it to 10 people, but I imagine since it's the first time I'm doing it, it's probably going to be like 5, which is going to be great because it's like tonight. You can get a lot of individual coaching. It will be in a Zoom format like this. So we would actually coach live. It includes one private coaching session and then access to this program. So Nora, you're already in this. So
Yeah.
you can join the calls. So
Okay.
session or week 1 is sacred space and energy management. This is about, it goes beyond healthy mindset, because healthy mindset is not enough. In the session, there are some things that we do. We're going to talk deeper about the why, creating healthy boundaries, tools for mindful living, and then the value and self-worth through daily reflection and gratitude. I'm a really big fan of that. So resources you receive, you're going to receive some ebooks, and I'm going to actually show you on the back end of my website. But you can go, what I want to show you is you can go onto my website and click this banner at the top, join this program, click here to join, and see what's included in the program. But then I'm going to actually show you what is. Session 2, uncover your healthy heart space, let go of limiting beliefs. So again, this is not for you if you're not willing to be open and share in a group setting. So Michelle, you just shared in a group setting. By the way, congratulations, and I acknowledge you because it takes a lot of courage to do that. So some people,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for the courage to do that. Some people, if you know you're not one of those people, some people really heal from being seen by other people, and some people are go deeper when it's one-on-one. So you just kind of, it's usually the thing you don't want to do that is the thing that you'll benefit the most from. So I'll just kind of throw that out there. But
And to be honest with you, for me, it was really good to listen to Michelle, because then you know that you're in a community, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the only type of species. You're the only individual.
Right.
yeah,
But I have through all this, through working with Jen, I realized, I'm not the only one. So that for me helps me, because somebody else may have a better way of doing and getting through something, and it might give me a great guidance to get through on my own.
That makes sense.
yeah, thank you for sharing that, Nora. So I myself always have a coach and a mentor. I couldn't be a coach and a mentor without having my own. And I've been in several group coaching programs, and I really struggled with being seen vulnerably because I have the belief that I don't believe anymore, but that I'm not good enough. So if I show up in a space where I'm like a mess and people see me, I had to work through that. So for me, doing group coaching, and I've had private coaching too, but I wasn't expecting that piece of it. I wasn't expecting. And then of course the community, like you said, you can learn so much from what other people are going through, because somebody might say something and they're like, oh, I totally do that, or I totally relate to that. Where when it's just one-on-one, it's just your experience and me coaching.
Yeah.
That's a benefit. So week 2 is diving deeper into that heart space. I'm going to actually log in and show you, because there's a webinar included with this, like a 1-hour webinar that you do. It's a workshop that I've taught that one corporate, not as it shows up here, but the limiting beliefs one is huge. People love that one because, and oftentimes people say to me, is it normal to not know that was showing up? And it's totally normal. Session 3 is energy alignment through self-devotion. So this is where we break that pattern of not committing to ourselves. Usually, especially as women, we're taking care of everybody else, going to school, we're working, we're taking care of the kids, and then we got to come home and cook dinner, and then we're doing all of the things. Oh, and then self-care, that's like a thing to do. So self-care, I want to eliminate the idea. I want to just transmute the idea that self-care is a thing to do, it's a way of being. So Michelle, when we talk about eating healthy, the sustainable way to do it is to become, if you want to be a healthy person, you become the person who makes healthy habits, who chooses healthy habits, because then it's no longer work.
Right.
And
See, all along, I thought that meant going to the spa and getting your nails done. And apparently, there's
yeah, self-care is like
Oh,
getting a facial and a massage.
yeah, well, that's what I've been exploring through this program, because that's what I thought it was, is go get a massage or go get your nails. And that was taking care of myself, you know?
So, and I love, I love
Well, it kind of is.
It is, but it's
it
like,
is, but
tip
it's
of the
also,
iceberg.
it's also the easy way. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. That's the easy way to be like, oh, I did self-care, check. When
Mhm.
what we really should be doing is not doing that and coming more into the moment of, what does my body need right now? Do I need stretch? Do I need to drink water? Do I need to, I'm feeling low energy. Do I need protein? Do I need a hug? I mean, really, that's like the deeper layers. So that's why it's energy alignment, through really recognizing that commitment to self. 4 is nourishing energy with intuitive eating. So intuitive eating is checking in with your body. So Michelle, you said you're doing this already, but understanding and learning how food affects your body. So giving you the tools to dive deeper into, and I went to the International School of Detoxification. I studied functional medicine. So I have a lot of tools to share with how to really understand what works for your body in this moment. 5 is getting deeper into the energy body and the body wisdom. So there's this thing, and this is just what I love. This is just me personally, so I share it with others. I really like Ayurveda, which is a
Yes.
practice of medicine and the energy body. So understanding your energetic constitution. Oh, there's a puppy.
Sorry, he's a big dog. My son just lifted him up
Oh,
behind
how
me.
cute. No, all dogs are welcome. So getting into the energy body. So for example, like there are so many trendy diets out there. And then we have our innate energetic constitution. Why do some people have a higher metabolism than others? And understanding how it's related to, first of all, eating seasonally, I'm a big part of, but then understanding how it's related to our energy levels, our cravings, and things that we need. There are certain people who have a much higher resting metabolic rate than others. That's part of your energetic constitution. Some of us are naturally higher energy people, and some of us are naturally more go with the flow people. It's part of your constitution. So we talk about that. And then session 6, again, is getting into what I call your soul signature, your energy signature. So I did some spiritual life coaching and personal development training. I did a lot of that. And this is really getting into diving deep down into like the truth of who you are. Like, what are you here to do? What makes you happy? Because on the deepest layer of why we don't feel well, it's because we are disconnected, or we perceive we're disconnected to the truth of who we are or why we're here. Like, we've forgotten really why we're here, which is really just to be us. It doesn't, I mean, you can, that's cool if you're a, doctor, lawyer, like so awesome, or what, like, but we get attached to our identities. We get really attached to what we do. And then we start to put all these expectations on how we have to show up, because at the end of the day, what really matters is who you are uniquely as a person, how you show up. So just kind of remembering that. So we go through that. So I'm going to actually show you for a moment. I always have to, my husband has access to everything I've ever had over the last 10 years. So don't even look at that. So we go through this is the 6 weeks creating space, letting go of limiting beliefs, the art of self-love. So these are the 6 weeks. And so just for example, like on week 1, you have a meditation, you have a PDF and an ebook. So now I'm going to say, if you're the person who's an overachiever and a perfectionist, and you're already thinking like, oh, I don't even have time to do that. Like, I'm not going to, and then now I'm not going to sign up because I'm going to fail. And this is, I can't, then I invite you to really check in with that. What is the belief that's showing up around this? Because you're always going to have access to this This is just there for you to trust and use when you need it. These are guiding principles. These are resources, and there's no expectation. So what I'm saying is that we're going to talk about it each week, and these are resources for you to do. And I know, Michelle, you're in school already, so you might be thinking, oh, I don't need one more thing to do. But for you right now, the meditation is good enough, you know? So just sharing that, because this is where our stuff comes up. This is where we start going to those beliefs where I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't have support, I don't have the energy. And so even if your takeaway tonight is recognizing that belief again and just having compassion for it, and maybe now is not the time and you do want to recognize that, but observe the story and the belief that come up. Just simply do that and rewrite it by saying, well, what can I do? So if this doesn't work for me right now, what am I willing to do in this moment? Because for those of you that joined me last week, this is an opportunity to alter your course just a little, to move into alignment. And there's nothing better for your well-being and your life than to feel empowered in your body, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, and choosing that. It feels so good to be empowered and actually live your life and show up the way you are choosing to, rather than what you think you should do. I invite you to remove the word should, remove the words I have to, and say, until now, this is the way that I was doing it. So until now, I felt out of balance and frustrated. And now I'm choosing to go to the grocery store and buy healthier foods. Because when I do that, it's going to give me more energy. When I eat healthier, I want to exercise more. When I eat better and I exercise more, I have more energy. So I have more energy to be more effective in getting my schoolwork done and to be mom. You know, that's
Right.
kind of how the snowball goes. So this is kind of what the back end looks like. So yes, this is a home study. There is an extra time commitment. I'm not going to say there's not. There's also weekly group coaching calls. You have unlimited access to all of these resources when you want them. So you don't have to go through it right away. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but just so you see, each week, like this one has a live webinar. It's an hour-long webinar that I used to do a lot online. Haven't done those for a while, but you can have access to that and you would go through this first so that when you show up to the group coaching call, you have more, you've already done some of the work and you've peeled some of the layers. And I'll be totally transparent with you. Like, this can bring up some stuff. This can, the tears can happen, and that's okay. Like, so, it's just the more that you're willing to commit in anything that you choose to do, the more of a breakthrough you're going to have. I'll just kind of say that. But also having compassion for yourself to trust that wherever you are is exactly where you need to be. So I wanted to show you guys that. And for those of you, so if you're interested, you can save $200 through, it was 8:00 tomorrow morning, but I'm going to make it to midnight tomorrow night because a bunch of people missed the email, didn't check it over the weekend, which I'm glad people aren't checking their email over the weekend. And so you can send me a personal message. We can hop on the phone. It is a commitment. I don't know when I'll be doing this again. I honestly don't know, because it's just, an extra time commitment for me. So I only choose to do it if it's in alignment. So this is just an opportunity. If you're looking for some extra support, you're interested, you're feeling really motivated right now, this is something that could happen. We're going to start the week of October 21st. And depending on who and how many people sign up or when they're available, we'll either do the calls in the evening or at lunchtime again, or we're going to rotate. So I think my plan right now is to do 3 and 3, because I have some people that are interested that work during the day, and then I have others that the evenings are too hard. So what I'm thinking of doing is 3 or 3, and I always have the recording so that you can listen to the recording. So Do you guys have any questions?
And the link with the cost and all that is in that email that you sent, right?
Yes, and I'm going to share it in the Facebook group. Yeah, I'll share it in the Facebook group.
Okay.
So you can take a look at that. And Michelle, if you have any questions, you can just message me directly, or
Okay.
we can jump on the phone.
Okay.
And if some, and also for those of you listening, if something comes up, if a block or a fear or a belief comes up, then my job here is only to help you to make a decision, because indecisiveness is a cycle of self-sabotage. And this is one that I see a lot that we can do too. We're afraid to fail, so we don't decide. We just, we know we want to do it, but we don't act on it, or we don't think it's the right time or whatever, or we don't really know. So it's really empowering to say no. It feels really good to say, no, this isn't for me at this time, or yes, this is good for me at this time. So truly and honestly, if you're feeling stuck between deciding and you want me to just kind of coach you to decide, like I love coaching. So just indecisiveness is a cycle of self-sabotage, but I'm happy to hop on the phone with you and just get really clear on, like, it's not the right time, or my Siri keeps going off. That's really funny. So I'll just offer that. We've got a whole week. We're going to start the program the week of October 21st. So you've got this week to sort of just decide if you want to jump on the phone and ask questions. Okay?
Okay.
Jen, thank you so much.
My
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you very much.
Thank you guys for being here, and have a wonderful night and a wonderful week. And Nora, I'm going to send you a message too.
Okay, yeah, it recalibrates my week for sure, because starting Sunday or Saturday night, I'm already stressed about